Coming up on Currently, Beth Milligan shares some of the top local stories from the week. Plus, Gary Gatzke is back with another food fight. That's all ahead on Currently. Welcome to Currently, where we discuss some of the top local stories directly from the journalists who are covering them. I'm your host, Christal Frost. This podcast was recorded on Thursday, October 2nd. The Tigers are in the middle of a battle to stay alive, playing Game 3 of the Wild Card Playoff Series against the Cleveland Guardians. Frankly, it's hard to pay attention to anything else at this moment, but we're trying. Support for Currently comes from West Shore Bank. When you choose West Shore Bank, you're not just choosing a bank. You are choosing a partner committed to the well-being of our community. Visit them today on 8th Street or at westshorebank.com. Support also comes from the Coin Slot Arcade Bar in Traverse City. It's a chill hangout with a full bar in a low-key setting. Welcome, Beth Milligan, head writer for Traverse City Ticker, and our friend Gary Gatzke is back for another food fight.
So good to be here, Christal and Beth.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to have you. Today, we're sampling pumpkin donuts and washing it all down with delicious Buchan's Old Mission cider. Ooh. How about that? But first, as they say, we're going to talk about the news. I do want to talk for a second about my condition. I'm a bit sick. I have pneumonia, but as they say in this world, this show must go on. So I'm wearing sweatpants under here, and we're just going to do what we do.
You look and sound great, by the way.
Thank you so much.
Major credit for being here today.
Well, thank you so much. I'm super excited about talking about the stories you've chosen this week, Beth. And Gary, I'm hopeful that I know you will have some really good common sense feedback about some of these stories too. So we're first going to start with Traverse City Airport, TVC, Cherry Capital Airport. What a banger year. What is going on here?
It's a bop year. So we had a story this week just covering a lot of different updates that have been happening at the airport. The kind of impetus for the story was that the August numbers came out. So Cherry Capital Airport the last couple of years has had record-breaking years. It seems to keep breaking its records year after year. So in August, it was the airport's biggest August ever. 141,822 passengers came through the airport in August alone. That's up almost 19.5% over last year.
Wow.
Which was itself a record-breaking year.
Holy smokes.
So a lot of people coming through. And right now, our year-to-date numbers are on track to have 2025 for the year being another record-breaking year. Last year, over the whole course of 2024, the airport had 787,114 passengers. That was the whole year.
Wow.
We're already at over 674,000, right now in 2025. So we're definitely on track, it seems like, to potentially break that record. Kevin Klein from the airport said they think they're going to break that this year.
And that's before all the holiday travel, which of course, and when you're talking about passengers, we're talking about people who are traveling out of Traverse City and into
just
Traverse
coming
City.
through the airport. Yeah.
Okay.
And, this is what's interesting about this airport traffic is this has shifted. The what kind of traffic the airport has seen has shifted. And I talked to Kevin Klein about this from the airport. He mentioned, they used to joke before that Cherry Capital Airport was a pure Michigan airport because so many tourists were coming through.
Sure.
And he said, I can't say that anymore. The growth is coming from locals. Mm-hmm. Local traffic is shifted so that 51-49% percentage has kind of shifted in favor of locals, and they're seeing more and more. I think he said it was up like 4 times what it has been in the past of local traffic coming through the airport.
How much of that is due, do you think, to the number of people who moved? And I'm specifically thinking about during the pandemic when you had so many people who got to choose where they lived. They could work remotely. They chose Northern Michigan as long as it had a good airport, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, actually, my colleague Craig Manning did a great story about this last year, and it's linked in my story this week if you want to go back and check it out. But the story was about what's driving the growth at Cherry Capital Airport, and the hint was it's not tourists.
Yeah.
And he talked about that. Yes, definitely the pandemic brought a lot of different people to Northern Michigan. Many, many more people can work remotely now and do work remotely and can fly in and out of business meetings. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of corporate clientele, and also TVC's number of direct flights has expanded, which makes it a lot easier to do business travel and to come in and out. So people aren't just going to Chicago and Detroit anymore. They're able to go directly to Denver, Dallas, the East Coast, all of which has really helped. So yeah, that I think all of those combination of things has helped with that.
I mean, I think too, the airport is located on fly, don't drive lane, right? That's where it is. And people are doing that. They're doing more of that. It used to be, I grew up in the world of road trips, and it didn't matter where you were going in the United States. We were taking a car, right? And that is not the case anymore. Road trips, yeah, sure, you're going to do a couple of road trips a year, but not like we used to.
Yeah, I definitely think, people are flying more and more often, especially with those, again, more airlines, more direct flights. And then with that, of course, with all that growth, there's other things at the airport that have to grow to accommodate that. Mm-hmm. So we talked about that in the story this week. For example, right now, if you go to TVC, there is a new parking lot under construction at the airport. It's north of Costco. It's going to add another 350 plus parking spaces to the airport. It's an economy lot, so it'll be something a little new and different. Other airports have it, but it'll be new for us, which is the short and long-term parking that we have at the airport now is managed. When you go out, you see someone, you pay. Yeah. The economy lot is automated. It's off-site a little bit more, so usually that's a little less expensive for parking because you have to make a little more effort to get to the terminal, but there will be a shuttle that circulates between the economy lot and the terminal that is supposed to be being constructed around Thanksgiving, and then in operation by the first of the year. So going into 2026, that should be open.
A huge need, right? Anybody who...
The parking was crazy.
Yes, yeah. It really was. And Gary, you fly often, so
I do.
You always use TVC, right?
I do, and as an adult, I use the parking lot, the long-term parking. So if I go away on a trip, the convenience of being able to deboard your plane, grab your luggage, and head to the parking lot. Provided that you remember where you put your keys after that trip, then you can jump in your car and head home, and it's really convenient.
Yeah. I think a lot of people do that, especially because we're still a market that's lagging in, Uber and some of those services. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of Traverse City folks just feel more comfortable driving themselves to the airport, dealing with delayed flights and stuff. You got your car waiting for you there. But the other big thing, going into 2026, even though this year is already shaping up to be a record-breaking year, the really big year for the airport is coming up in 2026 because that is when we are going to be starting the $120 million terminal expansion of the airport. So folks who are planning spring break flying, looking at next year flights, just know that this big terminal expansion, which is going to add 5 new gates to the airport, it's going to relocate and expand the security checkpoint, different baggage areas, more restrooms, concession areas, new potential bar, restaurant type offerings. That project is going to take a couple of years to complete. It's supposed to break ground in the spring. Kevin did say the passenger impacts will be minimal except for the summer, which is when we have our peak traffic.
Yeah.
So just know if you're flying in the summer of 2026 or 2027 that there will be some things like temporary gates, even some ground boarding of aircraft may be happening because of so many flights and juggling around the construction. But that'll be mostly in the summer that you'll feel those impacts. And then the new expansion is supposed to be complete by spring of 2028.
Having all those direct flights, having so many more options, it's really allowed for TVC to keep the flight costs affordable too. And I think it used to be sort of 20 years ago that people would go, well, it's still a little too pricey, I'm going to drive downstate. They don't do that anymore.
Yeah, and I think once you add in the time and the gas money and hotels, if you're staying overnight,
and I-75.
There's a lot of factors. So I definitely think it's going up. And the last thing we mentioned in this story, I think maybe just speaking to the fact that so many people are aware of the airport and flying through it, is that Cherry Capital Airport is in the running for the USA Today contest, the best resort airport in the country.
Wow.
So they're one of the top 10 candidates against some pretty notable cities like Aspen, Jackson Hole, Hilton Head, Key West, Palm Springs, and Nantucket. So if folks, we have a link in the ticker story. If you go to traversticker.com, the story is up there. But we have a link. You can vote daily. If you want to support TVC, that contest is going through October 6th, and it's reader-driven, so the votes will decide who wins.
That's huge. Nantucket had a whole sitcom about their airport. You remember that
I
show,
did.
Wings?
Oh, yeah. I loved Wings.
If we can beat that, then we're going places. Fantastic.
I want a wing spin-off about TVC.
I
Yes.
do too. Oh my gosh, with Kevin Klein, starring Kevin Klein, a wing spinoff.
That sounds
Now,
great.
Beth, you mentioned the possibility of restaurants or bars in this
Yes.
expansion at the Cherry Capital Airport. Now, a man of nostalgia, I remember I believe it was the Suncatcher at the old Cherry Capital Airport,
Yes.
which was quite something. And as a child, you would say, oh, that's not for me, that's for the adults. But when I became an adult, before they built the new airport, it was exciting to experience the Suncatcher.
No, I never went to the Suncatcher. I
don't think
heard
it's-
about
yeah.
it. Tell me what was so appealing about the Suncatcher.
You know, I think it's simplicity as a bar in an airport. It was no frills.
Yeah.
But it felt very metropolitan for being in, our small community in Northwest Michigan. So
I love it.
I hope to see something of that similar nature come as part of this project.
Okay,
maybe-
so we'll do a plug for
Yes.
the Suncatcher.
The Suncatcher. We would love to see that come back, or a spinoff called The Moon Releaser.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah. Well, I
No
mean,
one
so
will get
Cherry
it.
Country Cafe, which we have there now, the Lemcool family, they have been approved recently for
Right.
a long-term lease for that. But I think they may go through a request for proposals process for whatever a full-service bar. They did say they want a full-service bar for the new terminal expansion as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Great story. And if you want to catch this story in full detail, written by Beth Milligan, go to traversticker.com. Now, we started with flying. We're going to move over to driving at this point. And the headaches that many, many parents have been facing with the new traffic pattern. It has caused congestion problems at West Senior High. I have seen many Facebook posts about this. Beth, tell us what happened to the old entrance. I know we covered this before and something that TCAPS was doing to create a new entrance, but it hasn't seemed to be going very well the first month of school.
It's been a little rough, and to your point, I saw those social media comments as well. It was on my I was on my radar to write this story, and then my colleague Craig Mannon and I were talking about story ideas, and it was on his radar as well. So he wrote this one, but I've covered it, and I think he did a great job summing up what a lot of people are describing as a pretty headache situation over by West High. So, earlier this year, TCAPS had approved, this is over a $4 million project to revamp the circulation system at West, changing the entrance and exits, the parking lots, the drop-off areas, the sidewalks. It's a 2-phase of construction. They couldn't get it all done this summer before school started, so they got the first phase done this summer. There will be a second phase next summer. As part of the summer construction this year, they eliminated one of the 2 traffic lights at the entrance of the high school. So they previously had separate ingress and egress driveways, both of which had traffic lights on North Long Lake. So they scrapped the easternmost light and then demolished the dedicated exit point. So all of the traffic is consolidated into the entrance. It's across from Herkner.
Okay.
So we're down to this one entrance. They had, thought that would cause less congestion and chaos. And as we heard from many parents, they feel like it has done the exact opposite. Craig talked to parents in this article who felt, just baffled by how much money that has been spent on redoing it, and it feels like it's worse. The major problem seems to be right now, the parents come into the school, get sucked into this drop-off system, and then when they're trying to exit, specifically taking a left onto Long Lake,
Which probably a majority of parents are doing.
because you're going into town typically
Yes.
to work. You're dropping your kids off, and then you're going into TC to work. There's not a dedicated left turn signal. Adding to the problem is that Long Lake is already congested as it is because we have all of this west side construction happening. There's construction happening out in 31. There's stuff happening on Barney. So a lot of west side congestion is happening already. So, it's getting backed up from Zimmerman. So there's not even a place to sometimes turn for left-hand drivers out of the school. And then without a light, you're taking your chances because the traffic coming off Herkner is just coming constantly. So people are running yellow, and Gary's like, you guys live on the west side,
Yes.
Gary's so it's been a challenge. Now, here's what I will say. Craig talked to TCAPS and the Road Commission for this story. TCAPS acknowledged that they're aware of the problem. They do believe everything is going to flow better once the entire project is finished. Just reminding folks that it's only halfway through the construction. They also do believe the road closures nearby have made things worse right now, and that will eventually lighten up, although we will have 31 traffic to deal with again next year.
Yep.
They're also working on some modifications to the light this school year to try and help. So one of those is installing a modernized traffic signal. It has taken some time to come in. There's federal funding attached to this project, which, as we all know with bureaucracy, can take some time. Yep. So that updated signal, when it does come in and gets installed, it is supposed to provide a dedicated left turn signal, similar to the signal that's at Long Lake and Zimmerman, and a pedestrian signal to help with the crosswalk at the corners of the intersection. So they're trying to have an updated signal that will work better with the timing and the traffic flow and be adjusted to that. We will see how that works when it is installed. Yeah. We did, when we ran the story today on the ticker page, got a lot of comments from folks.
So many comments, like 150 comments, and everyone was just like, yeah.
I will say there's skepticism from folks, even with those changes about how it will work. I think folks are a little confused about where the drop-off areas are. Some people wish that they could go out the back of the school and exit onto Gallagher. Like there's, I think there's some maybe changes that could be looked at with the circulation of it, because the parents are feeling pretty strongly that it's not working right now.
So a couple of questions about this. Now, number one, Gary and I both live off of Zimmerman Road. And I will tell you, as someone who travels at that time of day on Zimmerman Road, whether it's during road construction season or not, it is busy. Mm-hmm. It is extraordinarily busy. That North Long Lake Road is extraordinarily busy at that time of day. So I have a feeling that traffic is going to come no matter what. And hopefully this left turn lane will help. But it'll slow everybody else down too, because you just have more parents, more people who are going to be on that road. Just be prepared for that, I guess, right? Leave a little early.
And also, some of the readers pointed out, and we'll see how this works, but even with a dedicated left turn, if the traffic from the Zimmerman light is backed up close enough to the high school, can people even turn onto Long Lake even with a dedicated green? No. That's a question. So.
Yeah. It's a lot, and that is a very, very busy. If you just think about the number of houses that have been built in that area, there's now a new senior living facility in that area off of Herkner. Yeah. There's another school, the Montessori school that's right there. It is just a very, very busy area. Plus, there's, my old dentist is right there,
Yeah. And that's the most important
which is the most important thing. But I feel like this is just one of those things where maybe they didn't think about all of the new infrastructure in that area and how many people have actually moved there since this plan was put in place.
Yeah, I think it speaks to, we're seeing this with all the road construction projects in Traverse City. Grand Traverse County just continues to be, and honestly, one of the few counties in Michigan that's seeing a really strong population growth. And we have a lot of old infrastructure, from our sewers to our roads, that are built for a much smaller population, built many, many decades ago, and are having to very quickly catch up. And these are really expensive things to fix and address. So
in the meantime, this is what my mom would have done. She would have gotten me close-ish to the school. And then she would have been like, okay, you can walk now.
You got this.
And I am now, at the time I would probably be like, Mom, you suck. But now I'm like, Mom, you got stuff to do, so okay.
Yeah. If I wasn't on a bus, I would have been doing like a duck and roll out of traffic, along the side of Long Lake Road.
All of the parents who are actually going through that traffic circle, I'm like, you're good parents.
Yeah, God bless.
Yes. And to my mom, who's probably watching this right now, I'm just joking. I love you.
Well, I'm a fan of growth, but having lived on Zimmerman Road since the early 80s, aside from the time I went off to college, it's amazing to see the volume of traffic over time, from maybe seeing 1 to 5 cars go by in an afternoon in the 80s to a stopped line of traffic where I could have my coffee at 6 a.m. and wave to folks stopped in traffic from my living room couch.
That's true. It's crazy.
It's quite something.
It is true.
But, I lived in New York for about 8 years, and so the traffic is soothing.
I will say there are people who've moved here from bigger communities who are like, you guys...
You have no idea what you're talking about.
It's not bad. But for Traverse City, it's probably a rough adjustment.
So what is the advice to the parents at this point who are, stuck in this traffic circle? Can you drop kids off earlier? I mean, is that permitted?
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, we saw people in the comment section certainly posting about that's their main go-to right now is coming early.
Yeah.
Some folks are doing what they feel like TCAPS probably doesn't want them to do, which is going out the back or in Gallagher or whatever.
Right.
But they are acknowledging like we're just trying to find some way to get through it. I think the best advice is try to go early. I know that's not an option for every family, but try if you can and just know that I think they're aware of it and they're trying to get some fixes to come.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. We are going to be right back with our food fight. I'm super excited about this. We are sampling local pumpkin donuts. But first, a word for our lead sponsor, West Shore Bank. Hey, podcast fan. If you want to win a $250 Visa gift card just for following something on Instagram, we have that opportunity for you. West Shore Bank is giving you a chance to win $250 just by following Instagram in their Instagram Follow Us contest. Now, here's the deal. You follow at West Shore Bank on Instagram before November 30th, and you're automatically entered to win. It's that easy. There's no purchase, no hassle. But here's why you'll want to stick around after you follow. West Shore Bank's feed is packed with financial tips, community updates, local event highlights, and real stories from people and businesses that are making a difference right here in Michigan. It's not just a bank, it's a neighbor that's invested in your success. So go ahead and hit that follow button. Get inspired and maybe even win $250 while you're at it. Full contest details are at westshorebank.com. The winner is announced on December 1st, so don't miss out. And welcome back to Currently. Are you all ready for donuts?
So excited.
Yes.
This is literally why I just pumped myself full of medication and got up right today. So
this is why I got into journalism.
This is why you got into journalism.
Yes.
Was for that. Food fight. I want to say once again, welcome back to Gary Gatzke. Gary, you are, as we have, gotten to know you on the show, but also known you for many years as friends. You're a local through and through. You grew up here in Northern Michigan. You know all these wonderful farms, all these wonderful little establishments, and you're also a musician. So tell us a little bit about what you do.
Sure. By day, I serve as the Director of Continuing and Community Education at Interlochen Center for the Arts, where I oversee our adult arts education programs, which range from adult choirs, adult bands, painting courses for adults, creative writing. We also have dance classes, social dancing for adults.
Oh.
But then we also have a baby dance class.
What?
Oh, it
Carrie,
is
they can't walk.
cutest.
How are they dancing?
They wiggle.
They're establishing rhythm, and all those movements, those wiggles.
That's pre-music, right? Like that's how you start to learn rhythm is by
all
listening
about body
to music.
movement. So, and then by night, I am a classical double bassist. I perform as principal double bass with the Traverse City Philharmonic, as well as the Great Lakes Chamber Orchestra up in Petoskey, Bay Harbor, Harbor Springs.
Yeah.
And recently I've joined and will rejoin again the Detroit Opera
Wow.
this
Excited.
season for a cycle or two.
Can we just mic drop on that one?
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm so excited for that.
And in your spare time, you are a co-host for Food Fight here on Currently.
I am, and really this is the best job out of all 3, 4, 5, all of the jobs that I have.
I love that. Well, Gary, we're so happy to have you here. We are sampling pumpkin donuts from 3 Northern Michigan staples. And I want to say Gallagher's, Peace, Love, and Little Donuts, and Water's Edge Sweet Tooth. So Gallagher's, of course, on M72. Peace, Love, and Little Donuts is on East Front Street in Traverse City. And Water's Edge Sweet Tooth is on Union Street in Traverse City. And Beth, we can't have all this donuts without some cider. So you brought some cider. Tell us about the cider.
Yes. Well, I live in the Mission Peninsula and wanted to bring in a local cider for us to drink with these beautiful donuts. And this is from Buchan's Blueberry Hill. 100% apple cider. I got it at the East Bay Township Farmers Market today.
Nice.
Which I want to give a plug for because that market is so cute and the staff have worked so hard. I think today might be their last day of the season, but definitely next year, check them out. They're amazing.
Oh, I love that.
Some delicious cider to go with.
That's fantastic. So I do want to say that we posted about Food Fight on our social media, and we got a lot of ideas from all of you. on different donuts to try. So as we were scouting these businesses that you suggested, we found that many of them just ran out of donuts as soon as they opened. So be warned, donut-loving fans. Fall in northern Michigan is like cutthroat, okay? And you best be in line at 6 a.m. if you want pumpkin donuts from 9 Bean Row or Third Coast, because they ran out, friends. They ran out. And we were there early. I'm just going to say it. Also, to the person who bought out the entire stock of 9 Bean Row donuts at 7 a.m. this morning, don't not be fooled. We are waiting for the right moment for some sweet frosted justice.
Yeah, I'm finding this person.
But that said, we have these wonderful, we were just going to have more donuts to try. We were going to have 5 instead of 3. So now we have 3. Here we go, guys. Are you excited for this?
Yes. So excited.
Before we have our wonderful assistant give us the donuts, does anyone feeling like a little donut pun?
Yeah. I love a good pun.
Oh, gosh.
You are a musician. I feel like you should be able to just come up with donut music puns right away. Donut go
well,
breaking
as
my
a
heart.
Michigander and a lover of all celebratory events such as weddings, journeys, don't stop believing.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
yes,
that's a good one.
absolutely. I just have to say, baby, I'm amazed by you.
Okay. If you're gonna mix puns in with McCartney, I'll go on the journey. I'll go on the journey with you.
You love that. Yes, and we have real donuts today. You had very specific requests for this. You didn't want to have donut holes. Why is that?
It just doesn't. They're different. It's really. It's like asking an Italian. Pasta's pasta. From the. Each pasta has a different flavor and a different purpose.
Yeah.
And I find that, a donut is a donut. It has a hole.
Yeah.
As the donut, and the donut hole itself is different, completely
It's different. Yeah. I mean, it's still good, but different. Yeah. And today we wanted pure, natural donuts with the holes taken out.
Correct. So we need a hole so that, I can continue my Whole Foods diet.
Okay, that's very, very, very good. Yes, I love that. Hold me closer, tiny donut. All right, moving on. Nobody got that one.
Oh, I love
Did
that.
you get that one?
I
Okay,
got it.
we're just done with the puns. We are here, and our producer, the wonderful Jordan, is going to be bringing up the first batch of donuts, my friends. And these are from, where are these ones from? Gallagher's.
Oh.
All right, so I'm going to go laptops down for this.
Laptops down, donuts up.
I'm squeezing the donut a little bit.
Ooh,
How often can you say that?
Well, you can already get into like the text. It's crumbly.
Yeah, it's cakey, soft, crumbly. Smells
it
good.
definitely has that pumpkin color.
Ooh. It's classic.
Like that turmeric kind of color, like golden.
Yeah, a very good. It's classic. I've been eating Gallagher's donuts for 150 years, and they're very good. It's always consistent.
Yes.
You have one donut this year; it's going to taste the same. Hopefully, in the next 50 years, I think. Very good.
Yes. No, I agree. This feels very. It feels like home.
Yeah, it does, and not overwhelming pumpkin flavor either. That's good to point out.
I was gonna say the same thing, especially like in the Starbucks era of like everything's like pumpkin spice, like just like so aggro. It's like, please just take a seat for a second. Like, I like pumpkin, but honestly,
Why does pumpkin spice? Why does it always feel like it has to be shouted?
I know it does.
Why can't it just be a whisper of pumpkin?
No,
Pumpkin.
that is good. That's just a good. It's a elegant, understated pumpkin.
Love it. All right, Gallagher's. Yeah, that's the one to beat right now. It's also the first one we tried.
It's also the first one I tried.
So worth it.
What are we going to be trying next, Jordan Anderson? This is from
Sweetwater.
Sweetwater.
Okay, now
Water's
already
Edge.
we can see that we got.
Ooh,
got
difference in
some-
color.
Well, we got some cinnamon sugar
Oh,
maybe
looks,
on top.
Oh man, and it is
Ooh, it's
moist. Wow, why
Let's
do we
never
say
that together in that way again?
Yes.
Wow, it is
It is,
moist.
though.
It has some sort of like a sugar glaze on it. It's a little bit darker in color. Oh dear Lord. That is very good.
I'm trying to describe why you and I both screamed moist at the top of our lungs, but I think it's because like the bottom of the donut, like literally, it's like
spongy.
It's spongy. It's like it's been dipped in cider. It has that kind of like wetness level to it, but it's delicious.
Oh, it's very good.
It's quite lovely.
It's quite lovely.
Picture it. Old Mission Peninsula. Late 80s, early 90s.
Sure.
We had Underwood Farms.
Yes.
Do you all recall the donuts and cider they had there? So I know that is a bygone era. However, from a nostalgia standpoint,
You were taking us all over the place.
Sure,
Hey.
Sicily.
I love it.
so good.
That is very good.
Okay.
That is one of those donuts, too. I mean, we have this delicious cider, once again, from Buchan's, but
I'm gonna get some.
with a donut that moist, you don't even need the cider. Although I'm going to have more.
With a donut that moist.
Boy.
Yeah, two distinct consistencies, but both incredibly good. And again,
Very good.
A morning coffee with one of these donuts would be a great way to start your day.
And look at the traffic that is backing up on Zimmerman Road.
Correct. And,
Wonderful.
for those driving down Zimmerman Road, don't shy away from, honking your horn or waving.
Just wave at Gary.
I won't
He's
give my
watching
exact
you.
address, but you might figure it out one day.
One day you will.
Okay, interesting. We got our final candidate.
We do. We have some little tiny baby donuts from Peace, Love, and Little Donuts.
Okay.
This location is on East Front Street. And yeah, these are little donuts because that's what their brand is, right? They make little, smaller versions of donuts. It's not dressed up with any sort of glaze or anything like that. It is a purely pumpkin donut.
No, it seems already moisture-wise to be between the two.
It's definitely between.
It's got like the cakey inside like Gallagher's, but it has a little bit of that moist crust.
And the color is also in between. I would call that more of an autumnal hue. I don't know where it falls on the Pantone scale, but...
So, a couple of things of note as I take a bite into Peace, Love, and Little Donuts pumpkin donut. It tastes a little more fried.
It does. I was
You
gonna
know,
say
like
that
a little...
exact-
And I wonder if partially that's because it's smaller. So it fries a little easier.
I was going to say the same thing, that kind of like buttery taste that you associate with like fried, like a carnival food.
And it's definitely more dense than the other two.
Agreed.
Gallagher is having more of that cakey, sort of feel. And then you have the very moist sponginess of Water's Edge. And then we go into Peace, Love, and Little Donuts. It feels like it's a little more firm.
It's more muted in the pumpkin for me too.
Yeah. It's definitely like
Mild.
like maybe saying the word pumpkin outside the room. That's what it feels like to me. It's not overpowering with the pumpkin flavor. Which
That's a great
honestly,
way to
none of these
describe it.
donuts were overpowering with the pumpkin flavor.
Okay, gird your loins. I'm going to come in with a hot take. So,
All right.
Water's Edge. That's what's called, right? I think, yeah. That's a surprise for me.
Yeah.
That is I personally, because I prefer moisture textures, I think, than drier ones. I really like that. I like the cinnamon on top because I think it gives a little textural crumble and a little sugar hit in each bite.
Yeah.
And I felt like the pumpkin was a little more pronounced.
Yeah.
They're all good, but
yeah,
I think that
very
one for me
good.
was a surprise and I didn't see coming.
I have to say, I'm going to go next here, and I'm going to go Water's Edge Sweet Tooth on Union Street for almost the same reasons. Obviously, I think the moisture is a big part of it. I do think that the pumpkin was not overstated. It was still subtle enough, but it was just a different, maybe more, I don't know, maybe a little more pronounced, like Beth said, as far as pumpkin. And there's something about that sugar on top, baby.
Yeah, that's doing it for me.
I mean, that's really...
I keep calling it cinnamon, but I shouldn't say it's just like a sugar.
It's like a sugar, yeah.
glaze,
Because it's not flavor. It's just like
it
it's
doesn't
like
have
it was
a cinnamon
dipped in
flavor.
sugar, and it has my heart now. So yeah, Water's Edge for me.
Excellent. Well, I think there's an appropriate time and an appropriate occasion for each of these three donuts. I'm gonna, a man of who likes tradition and being of the classic form. The Gallagher's donut is fantastic and would suit and be appropriate for various occasions. As would the Peace, Love, and Little Donuts mini fried donut, Le Petite. donut. But again, there's something incredible about our sweet tooth
Water's
donut
Edge
here.
sweet
Water's
tooth.
Edge sweet tooth. It almost replicates that of a pumpkin pie. Maybe that's where the moisture is coming
the moisture,
in.
There
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like I think like Peace Love here, like being a little bit more of a sturdier, denser texture, which isn't always my favorite to eat by itself, but I think would hold up really well to like dipping in some hot cider
for
or
sure.
like coffee or something. So like that combination I could see working really well. And of course you mentioned in your intro that there were popular spots that we couldn't get them from. I do want to, for like our, celiac fans and stuff, I do want to mention that Third Coast pumpkin donut is gluten-free. And if you're already have a gluten sensitivity, you probably know about Third Coast or on your radar, but they have a lot of great bakery goods that are gluten-free. So if you're looking for something like that, they're a good spot to go to.
All of the donuts were fantastic. I would not say no to any of these donuts.
Yeah.
I would just not. But yeah, I think all of us kind of, surprised, honestly, by Water's Edge Sweet Tooth. And that's going to be a spot that I keep going back to.
Yeah. A new one for me.
Agreed.
Absolutely. Well, friends, that was fun.
That was fun.
Check that out. And, thank you to everyone who suggested. If you have any suggestions for any other food that you would like us to test out here for a food fight on Currently, please let us know. You can find us all over the social media. You can also go to christalfrost.com and you can send an email that way as well. Before we move to saying goodbye, I love to ask you guys what you're looking forward to this week. And Gary, you have a lot of gatherings this week.
I do. I'm going to have various dinners in the coming days. With
Donut dinners?
Donut dinners. With musician friends, some acquaintances from the Traverse City Philharmonic on Friday night. And then this evening, I'll have dinner with my first violin teacher, who taught for TCAPS for many years. Dorothy Kunkel is her name.
Well-known
and
name.
she spends her summers in northern Michigan and her winters in Florida, as you do. And it's always great to catch up with her and remember the days of yore and find out what's new and exciting.
What do musicians eat?
They eat pretty much the same foods as others typically eat.
They're just like us.
We're just like you, but it sounds like scallops are on the menu this evening.
Fancy.
And I will, give a plug to a winery out of Alsace. So I'm going to bring a bottle of wine that I picked up in Alsace, France.
Beautiful.
Last October to dinner tonight.
I love that. I thought they ate peanut butter and jam.
Oh.
Sorry. Okay,
Pump
guys.
it up.
I'm sick. Sorry.
We'll blame it on that.
Yeah, we're gonna blame it all on that. Well, that sounds very lovely, Gary. And I'm kind of jealous of those scallops, to be honest with you. All right, Beth, I know you and I are both very excited about the same thing. But why don't you go ahead and let the cat out the bag?
Well, by the time this airs Friday morning, the Taylor Swift new album will have been out for approximately 6 hours. Ooh. And I will have been listening to it for approximately 6 hours. Wow. So yes, new Taylor album out at midnight tonight. There's like my whole next week is going to be occupied with this because
Taylor.
It's the album. We're going to see the movie, which is at AMC this weekend. She's going to be on multiple talk shows. She's hinted there's more surprises. I feel like I'm losing my mind with the Easter eggs right now. So this is just, as a Swiftie, this is my life for the next week.
I feel like Taylor Swift makes it really fun to be a fan.
She does. She deliberately plants like Easter eggs and things for her fans to find. You feel like you're a wacko conspiracy theorist, but it's actually validated because she does.
She does.
She also believes in the crazy clues. So,
and I've been a fan of Taylor since she, came on the scene. And in my old years, old for me, like years ago, I was a country music DJ, and so I remember her coming on the scene and just being like, this kid's got it. And then when she transitioned over into pop, at that point, I was a pop music DJ. So I was like, sweet. So it was all, it all made a lot of sense for me to be a fan of hers. But you are a super fan of Taylor.
Yes, along with my sister. And
yes.
So I'm wearing a little bracelet. This is actually a nice May Erlewine bracelet. Shout out to our local singer-songwriter.
Nice.
But yes, I'm very excited for T
Well,
Swift.
very excited too. I'm excited for her to go on tour again because this time I am not going to miss out. I will get those tickets. I will figure out how.
She's got a wedding to plan, Christal, so there's a lot going on.
I guess so. I mean, I feel like she She
can
needs
do
to
it
go
all.
on tour,
Maybe
though.
she needs
can
an
do it all.
orchestra for the wedding.
Or
Yeah.
maybe she needs to do a wedding tour.
Maybe.
And get married in every city.
Oh my gosh, that would be. Oh, that's exactly what we need right now.
So I've had too much cider.
Well, oh, dang it, Beth. I made it almost the whole
You
way,
did
and then
so
you
good.
made me laugh. Well, that is what I'm looking forward to, as well as Taylor Swift release. I'm also looking forward to relaxing and recovering and getting over this crud so we can be at full strength next week for Currently. I want to say thank you to Beth Milligan and Gary Gatzke for another great show. We are going to be back next week. We have a special guest, Nick Loud, who's going to preview the Frankfurt Film Festival, which will be a lot of fun. Please be sure to subscribe to the show on all platforms at crystalfrost.com. Follow us on social media. Subscribe to Currently with Christal Frost wherever you get your podcasts. You can also watch the full show on YouTube and on Facebook. And Currently is a Compass Local podcast. It's produced in Traverse City by Pancake Boy Productions. Big thanks to our lead supporter, the wonderful West Shore Bank. We'll see you next week on Currently.